It's a cycle that they created, which is called the American dream, which is actually the American debt trap.
The American dream is a debt trap.
I graduated from college back in May. That was 6 months ago. By now, I genuinely thought I was going to be in a position where I had a well-paying full-time job. I haven't found that.
Dang, y'all. I really miss when the American dream was so simple, dog. I ain't gonna lie, man. I really missed when you could just work hard, go to college, and buy a house, get a good job, and live a good life, It doesn't sound too bad now. It really doesn't. And that was the formula for many years, But the older that I get, the more it feels like the American dream isn't really a dream at all. I feel like it's just a payment plan. Think about the path that we were told to follow, okay? Bear with me on this. Step one, go to college. You know what I'm saying? Not optional, but it was practically required if you wanted a good job. Like going to college actually meant something. But that degree usually comes with $5, $10, sometimes $50,000 in student debt. So before your career even begins, you already owe some money, okay? Which paying for education is crazy. But then comes the job. Like you work 40 hours a week, sometimes more, and the first chunk of your paycheck goes straight to rent or maybe a mortgage, which is just a nicer way of saying, decades of debt, of course. Now we're on to the car. Most Americans do not buy cars anymore, okay? They finance them, which means that's another monthly payment, okay? So now we're adding up school, the house, the job. Now we're at the car. Now we're at healthcare. Oh my God. Insurance premiums, deductibles, prescriptions, all tied to keeping that job you may or may not even like in the first place. And somewhere in the middle of that, we were told that this is freedom, right? Is it really freedom if every major step of life starts with a loan? College is debt, cars are debt, homes are debt. Sometimes even weddings can be debt. Like what is going on here? I didn't know love don't cost a thing, ladies and gentlemen. I guess I'm guessing I'm wrong. It starts to look less like a dream and more like a system designed to keep people paying forever and ever. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? Opportunity in America, I believe, is real, okay? People build businesses here. People can create incredible lives. But the version of the dream many of us were sold growing up, the one where hard work automatically leads to stability, feels like it was written in a different economy, like a different generation. Because today, a lot of people are working harder than ever. And I still feel like they're just treading water between payments. So maybe the question isn't whether the American dream exists, okay? Maybe the question is, who does this dream actually work for? Because if the dream requires a lifetime of debt just to participate in it, then maybe it's time we rethink what the dream is supposed to be in the first place, and whether that dream belongs to us.
The reality is America is dead broke. We're a nation that depends on debt. We are much like Donald Trump. We've mastered how to handle debt, right? America doesn't have cash on hand. You know who they depend on for cash on hand, for petty cash? You, me, our tax money. That's who they care about getting their money from. They don't care about us as people. They care about us as the suppliers of their petty cash. That's what we do. We're like 30 plus trillion in debt in the United States, right? And guess what? Under Donald Trump, over $1 trillion of that goes directly to China, that debt. Imagine the guy who's going to save us, the man who's starting wars. And now, starting wars, overthrowing governments, screwing over the little man, the middle class is shrunk, the lower class is expanding, and the upper class is getting wealthier and separating themselves even further, right? That's what's happening right now in America. And all the money is flowing over here to Dubai. Everyone's running up to me in the office. We're getting so many American leads. Yeah, because Americans want to get their money the hell out of there and not have to pay taxes, so they're investing in Dubai. Smart. But if you don't have that opportunity, if you can't take chunks of change and buy a property in Dubai in order to avoid the taxes and getting screwed, what do you do? What do you do? We sit back and we watch, right? And what are we watching right now? He wants to redo the Kennedy Center. Why? Because he's going to get government contracts. He's going to steal a bunch of skim off that. That's an American right now WhatsApping me about a property she wants to buy. No joke. I'll get back to you in a minute, Grace. So he wants to spend $200 million 200 million, a fifth of a billion, in order to redo the Kennedy Center. For what purpose? To put his name on it, for ego, and to collect a scheisse ton of skin. If you take that 200 million, we have approximately 200 million adults in the United States that are citizens, that whatever, right? Americans. Maybe a little bit more. Give every single adult American $500,000 right now, and put $250,000 into the hands, like a trust, like a bank account for kids that they can access once they're 18 to pay for their college, to pay for their university, to pay for their groceries, to pay for their zivania, to pay for whatever they need to get done, right? And you give all those Americans money, and you don't build the Kennedy Center. How much better would America be immediately? We would immediately have an influx into the economy. Gotta take this. Business calls. Marianne. Back to the TikTok. My point is simple. Our politicians don't care about us. Our politicians are crooked. Our politicians lack depth. They are all in it for their own investments. Donald Trump being the Warren Harding of this era. He's filled his cabinet. He's filled his government with nothing but a bunch of his cronies and friends. God knows what they're up to. The Epstein crew. The crooked crew, he's crooked. The guy has plaques under other presidents' names where he talks smack about them, for Christ's sake. I mean, all he would have to do, all the United States government would have to do, is petition to give every single American at least $500,000. Every single one of us. They wouldn't even feel it. They pay more than that for napkins every year, based on the contracts they get. All the contracts. American government is the worst business in the world. They're constantly getting ripped off. Why? Because the rip-offs pay the politicians. That's how these broke punks do everything. They skim, they scam, and they take our tax money to play freaking games. They take our tax money to fill their pockets, to fly on private jets, to eat caviar, to do whatever they want to do with their time, energy, their lives, while we work like ants, like bees. I'm not an ant. You're not an ant. We are not programmed simply to work. We have art. Art is a part of who we are. It means we're creative beings beyond just our abilities to build, to manufacture, to work, to produce, to do whatever it is that we do in our lives. And they're taking away everything that creates, that makes humans human. And they're turning us into ants, all so that they can fill their pockets. It's not a Democratic or a Republican thing. It's an American, systematic, governmental issue that needs to be addressed. I'm so mad. And all this Epstein crap, I'm so mad. They're all dirty, nasty.
I graduated from college back in May. That was 6 months ago. By now, I genuinely thought I was going to be in a position where I had a well-paying full-time job. I haven't found that. I do side hustles. I put in the work. I have a plan of going to law school, but 6 months in, I can't even get a simple assistant role, a simple internship role. All of these entry roles are requiring 5+ years of experience. How am I supposed to do that when I just graduated college? I'm personally so blessed to have a great support system, but I put myself in other people's shoes who don't have that support system, who are in even tougher situations, and I don't understand how people can sit here and comment behind a screen saying they're not working hard enough when they're working multiple different jobs and constantly trying to learn how they can make more money and living paycheck to paycheck. I don't understand how people can say they're not putting in the work. Growing up, I thought it was going to be simple. Graduate high school, go to college, graduate college, get a job. Stress-free, because that was how the American dream was painted. But the American dream is just debt and struggling to pay for health insurance alongside rent, utilities, and groceries. I know it can get confusing. I really feel for those who have, and I want to bring awareness to the situation, to those who are putting in all of the work that they can and still struggling to make ends meet.
It's a cycle that they created, which is called the American dream, which is actually the American debt trap. The education system taught us to go to school, get a job, get a 401k, and get debt. The American dream, right? You work really hard, you go to school, you get a grade point average, and you get out of school and you get a credit score. And you want to keep that credit score good. Your parents tell you, watch your credit score, watch your credit score. And then what you do is you spend $100,000 on an education, you get out of that education, you have a huge bill for the education. And then what they tell you to do is you go get a car on a 78-month auto loan that you can extend out your buying power 78 months. And then you go get a 30-year mortgage and you get a credit card and you want to buy stuff because you're in a job that you hate, you're miserable, and so you want to continue to keep up with the Joneses so you can keep that dopamine going. It's a cycle that they created, which is called the American dream, which is actually the American debt trap.
You're supposed to get a bunch of degrees because getting all those degrees are what's going to put you further into debt. And then a lot of times it's hard to find a job in said degree later on, but that's another subject for another day. You're supposed to get the house with the white picket fence because that is another debt trap, especially nowadays where the taxes on the house increase like substantially each year, where people are hardly able to keep up with the taxes on the house rather than the mortgage payment itself. That's another trap. You're supposed to get married so that you can belong to someone, so that you can be property to someone. And then you're making bigger expenses together because you're a married couple and you feel more safe with the other person's income being there, which ends up getting you to have lifestyle creep where your expenses creep up on your behind because you're spending so much money because you feel so safe and now you're in more debt. Then you're supposed to have kids who have expenses and you want to take care of as long as you can. You want to put them in the best schools. You want to send them off to college. You want to still support them after they turn 18. You still want to do things for them. Yet another debt trap. I'm not saying that any of these things are mistakes. I'm saying make sure you actually want them before you embark on these journeys, because there are ways to make really good money or comparable money to educated people without going to get a degree. There are ways to have a nice home that you enjoy that doesn't have the white picket fence and doesn't cost you $600,000 plus increase in taxes every year. There's ways to experience relationship and love and even just community that's not romantic without being married. There's ways to experience the joys of being a parent or a guardian or a guider in life of children without actually becoming a parent. There's ways to enjoy symbols in life that don't cost as much as the big status symbols like fancy cars and handbags. There's ways to get to all of the same or similar things that don't include all of the debt that you accumulate when doing it. And that's the part that they don't want you to know, because if you knew it, then you wouldn't be a part of the machine anymore.
It's funny how while you're in school, they teach you how you need to go back to school in order to make more money that's going to put you in even more debt, versus teaching you something of substance like not even going into debt in the first place, or just teach us fucking financial literacy. That way we don't need to go to school. We can all learn to invest. That way we can all set us up in the best way possible for our future. But no, they don't want to do that, and why would they? You going into debt is what's making them millions of dollars, if not billions or trillions of dollars every year. I told y'all, when it comes to these financial institutions and these banks, they are not worried about the money up front. They worried about, they banking on you not paying that debt and letting that interest stack up, and they gonna make money off your interest. And pray to God you don't die with a whole bunch of debt, because I just learned with my grandmother passing that you can pass your debt on to your children. So for all y'all thinking I ain't got to pay this, they can kiss my ass, I'm not paying them money. Okay, trust and believe they're gonna get their money one way or another. I personally feel like financial literacy should be a class that should be taught in every school in the United States, but it won't. And honest to God truth, that's how the world make their money, by you being in debt. So why would they teach something to prevent you from being in debt when they need you to be in debt to profit off of you? It's a big ass reason why they call it the American dream. And you can share this with anybody. They want you to buy that new house. They want you to buy that brand new car, along with the new house, and furnish your house with all the new appliances, just so you can go into debt, just so you can make the banks more richer than what they already are. The American dream is a hoax to keep the people who actually run America rich, not you.
We have more slaves on this planet today than we had at any time during slavery. Right here in this country. We got white people in slavery. We got brown people, black people. I mean, they even call themselves slaves. Like man, I can't get out from underneath my debt. No shit, bro. You took a card from MasterCard. Like, they changed the Cleveland Indians name, but MasterCard still gets to be MasterCard. Do you know if a realtor came in this house to sell this house, they cannot call my bedroom a master bedroom, but MasterCard is still MasterCard. And they are the master of many people. Okay, MasterCard and Visa card do about 50%, I think it's 47 and 51% profit margins on trillions of dollars a year. And what is it? It's a piece of plastic. They basically are the transaction via between Starbucks and your bank. And they get 2 or 3%. They're making a 50% margin on processing something.
The American dream is a debt trap. You go to college 4 years, about $120,000. New car, around $40,000. Wedding, $30,000 minimum. Average home, $300,000. We trap people in their 20s with all this debt. They spend probably 35 plus years of their life working at a job that most of the time they don't even like, just to pay this all off. You know, America doesn't run on Dunkin', it runs on consumer debt.